around the island or something, so you've got kind of distinct cut-offs of different age water.
5 of them.
You said you're heavy, Gabby?
Yeah, I'm going to ditch a plate. We just started heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question here. It's asking the data part of the website is Argus depth section referring to Atalanta?
Yes.
They're both able to go down the deepest 6,000 meter, right?
4,000, I think.
I think
Yeah, Hercules.
Hercules is 4,000.
Hercules
is
4,000.
4,000. Atalanta is 6,000. Yeah.
Okay, yes, so that is correct. And I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
The water is really cold here. What is the coldest you guys have ever seen on dive, and how does it affect marine life down there? Before you do answer, interesting fact, the seamount is called Malulu, and Malulu in Samoa means cold.
Oh.
Do you know what the reason it was named that?
I don't know. Either it's a name of a person, or they probably named it because it's cold down there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is there a place where we could find out how the names were chosen?
Usually there's a community of Samoan leaders come together and they decide the names of these different seamounts.
I think it's a good name.
Just realized
Yeah,
that.
it really is. It's below 2 degrees Celsius, so that's actually...
No, it's cold.
Excuse me. I couldn't
Video,
get the
can I
mic
get a
button
zoom?
instead.
That was the
Are you feeling cold,
silent,
Chris?
most
Pressure
silent.
test. My ears have just been deployed to 3,000 meters so that I didn't sneeze live on air. I'm terribly sorry.
No, all good.
But below 2 degrees Celsius, so that's kind of refrigerated temperature. And that's very typical of the deep ocean around the entire planet, which makes sense because at 3,000 meters we're kind of into the deep part of the world's oceans. For coldest temperature at the sea floor, I have had our near it under ice ROV was at -2 degrees Celsius because that was in the Arctic Ocean. And so with salt water and high pressure, you can actually get to below freezing temperature for freshwater ice at the or freshwater at the surface. So that was, and what do the animals do there? They shivered. Actually, that's not true because the animals we were looking at were around hydrothermal vents at the seafloor, so they were just swimming around near the vents. They were just hanging out where it was pretty warm, but there wasn't a lot going on anywhere. There was just some large glass sponges around the rest of the seafloor away from the vents. It was kind of pretty sparse.
So is it safe to say that no matter what temperature it is, eventually you'll find some form of life in these different temperatures?
Life will find a way, apparently. Yeah.
Exactly.
And even in the frozen ice, you can still get communities of either like dormant phytoplankton, for example, trapped in little rivulets of very hyper-concentrated water between solid ice, and then if they get the chance, they will become, and actually I don't know, are they dormant, do you know, Chris, or are they just that is their ecosystem,
Video,
and they survive
did you
like
want to
that?
do a
What
white
surprised
balance?
me was that
Yeah, that'd be
actually on the
great.
underside of the ice there were algae at the base of a food chain. We'd gone there expecting lots and lots of clear water, and when we first did the first dives we did, we're just actually practicing at just driving around underneath the ice at the ice-ocean interface. So that was right on 0. And we couldn't use autofocus on our cameras like we do here because the water was too murky. But when we focused, it wasn't murk, it was gelatinous organisms. There were all kinds of animals, and
Cool.
there was a whole food chain. And it's because the ice, although it's thick enough you can get off the ship and walk around on it, it turns out that's safe to do as soon as the ice is 4 feet thick, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be very, very thick. So light can still
Okay.
penetrate through,
Video,
so you
that's
can have
all you.
photosynthesis.
Yep.
And so there were algae swarms on the underside of the
Yeah,
ice.
you can come down a bit.
That was the base of its own food chain that was happening in the surface oceans. They still had photosynthesis even when there was ice in the way.
What's that?
Yep.
I suppose when you're that close to the pole, it must work in the Antarctic
I'm
as well.
gonna
There
stay here
must
for
be
just a second so you can come
months
around.
of the year
Just
when there's
sit
no
tight.
sunlight, so maybe everything
Is
goes
it possible
dormant
to
then.
pan over to the right a little bit?
Yes.
Yep. I think, yeah,
Just a smidge. Thank you. That's beautiful.
definitely in the liquid ocean underneath an ice sheet, that fully makes sense. But in
Yeah.
the solid part
Okay,
of ice
screen's
itself,
going to go black for just a second.
do you know if those communities are also like
Ah,
how, like if that's that
Yeah.
they're dormant in the solid ice, or if it's that they're
no,
waiting?
I think they're thriving because
They're
what
thriving.
actually happens is that
Okay, another
as
adjustment.
ice freezes from the seawater,
Okay.
because the ice is
Okay,
pure
go
water,
ahead. Let's get out of
what
here.
it leaves behind is a saltier
Yeah.
ocean, but not all of that. So, but as the ice freezes, it leaves little channels. It doesn't
Yeah.
all freeze homogeneously. So you end up with little pockets of quite briny material, which is then very nutrient rich.
Yeah.
So then they're sealed in little pockets, but because the water's so salty, it can't freeze at the same temperature. So it stays liquid water, and it's liquid water which then becomes a tiny little spa with lots and lots of goodies. So I think then stuff can thrive inside those little communities as well.
You should be able to come back around now.
And some of those Arctic
There's a
and
hhmmss.
Antarctic communities of fish, like dragonfish and ice fish,
Mm-hmm.
that have developed antifreeze proteins and like glycerol in their bloodstreams that keeps them from freezing, so they can survive in
Wow.
really cold water.
Kind of like us in this van with the
Yes.
the blankets and the sweater. Gotta adapt to the temperature inside here, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. I have my 4 layers on once again today.
Are those ice fish that you're talking about?
Yes, and dragonfish.
I have worked on ice fish project before, pulling them up from the bottom of the ocean so scientists can see like what it means to be a creature. They're basically like chronically hypoxic. Like they're very, like their blood is not as good at transporting oxygen, I guess, is my understanding. So they sort of are chronically hypoxic or almost hypoxic. And the second you bring them up, they're sort of on the edge. And they put them in tanks and do all kinds of study to try and figure out what the limits of a system of of physiology based on different types of blood.
They would probably thrive in the crater at Vailulu, where it was all a bit stagnant and full of things.
Okay, so where are we going?
We are going to go 015.
We're going to go north and discover stuff.
Head north.
015. Okay. Great. You already have that heading, it looks like, or something close? That's fine. Go for it. That's how I know where to go.
And it's interesting, even this deep, these are intact lava flows we're looking at just here.
Yeah, do we want to get a rock first?
We do have lots of rocks.
Adam said,
in the thing,
Adam
so-
said we're not in a great rush, and he got
Yeah.
16 hours, so I think we can
Okay.
leave it to Adam to get a rock.
Yeah.
He does like getting his own rocks.
He does like, yeah. He knows how to identify one that's a good rock. We just need to go down 90 more centimeters, and
Is
then
that
we've
how
made it
far
to
up?
3,000 for...
Okay, I'll do
Oh,
that
yeah.
for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So close.
and there's Meg's biological reward.
Yeah, that's a Brisingid sea star. And a Chrysogorgia with a squat lobster in it.
I'm still so impressed you can tell that
There.
there's a small
I
lobster.
was thinking
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same
Oh,
thing.
40 centimeters to go.
What? Really?
Yay,
Yay.
3,000.2.
Okay, cool.
All right.
I had to wait for sages.
Sage has been fully baptized.
Okay.
Well, it's rated to 6,000, but not
Yeah,
for
yeah.
today.
Well, but it's made it into that
It's made it to
second
the second half.
Yep.
The second half. Although, where is your depth sensor on her?
I'm going to give,
It's
at
on
the
the bottom.
bottom,
Oh,
I'm going to
so it
give
hasn't.
Not quite there.
Not quite there.
the lower camera a restart here.
the data file will show that it was greater than 3,000.
The data file will, but I'll know
That's the wrong
deep
one.
down that it only
It's
made it
not
to
lower.
2,999.5 somewhere.
Can you guys quickly explain what sage is
Sure.
and what we're
So
collecting?
It's a fine herb, goes really well with omelets.
Good with your turkey and Thanksgiving Day.
it's also some very wise people.
Yep.
But in this context, it is the sensor for aqueous gases in the environment. So it's a gas sensor that's been developed by some researchers at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, so primarily Anna Michelle and Jason Caput. And it detects dissolved gases that are in water, in this case
Go
seawater,
presume.
by having, it's got a membrane, and gases which are dissolved in the water are diffused through this membrane, and then there's a laser absorption spectroscopy system on the
You can keep
inside
pushing in.
of the gas sensor, and that will quantify how much of various gases you have extracted from your seawater. So we have two stages on Herc today. One of them will
so I've got
be
the
quantifying
Atalanta-
CO2, and one of them will be looking at methane.
Totally come off. Yeah, it
Um,
sure has.
But this is a dormant
Okay.
seamount, or almost certainly a dormant seamount. So we're not expecting any particular concentrations of methane from any from CO2 from any geological source, and we
It could be.
might have some of biological origin, but you know, this is primarily a dive to get some background baseline CO2 and methane data outside of the volcanic regions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We need to talk to Robert, I think. Can you go, I mean, somebody should probably grab him. That can be you. I'm not going to go anywhere without you, so. Is there somebody? No, we're fine. Right where we're stable right where we are, and there's stuff to look at, so. Yeah, it's right across from mine.
Would you like
which
me
is not
to
helpful to you.
get him so you don't have to leave the pilot seats? It's up to you.
What's his room number? I can...
I don't know his room number off the top of my head. You'll just have to look at the sign.
Yeah.
Again, don't know it. You'll just have to look at the
It's the one
signs
opposite,
in the
Robert.
mess.
But would you rather someone not one of the pilots go?
It's okay. We're not
Okay.
going to go anywhere right now. We'll look around here while she goes to get Robert, because she can describe the problem to him pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way, if he doesn't think it's a problem, then we can.
Just carry on.
Yeah.
What was the problem? I didn't
The
hear.
problem
sorry.
is that the gauge for the thrusters came off of Atalanta, and is flapping around and going to cause
no.
problems.
Okay. Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Okay, so while we're here, let's take a look at stuff, since we can.
So Megan, were you saying there are little, the dark red things, those are little squat lobsters on that
Yeah.
coral?
They're
Yep.
little squat lobsters.
Those are tiny compared to the things we were just looking at around the vents, right?
Well,
Yeah.
the things we were looking at the vents were really tiny. Like all those little anemones and things, and the carnivorous sponges, they were all really small. But everything was the same size, so then you kind of get that perception of, you know, things might be larger than,
Okay.
or
These
might
are- and these
appear,
are all-
might seem larger than they actually are.
And these are all sponge stalks, is that right?
Yeah, these
That
are
we're
all
seeing
dead
here?
sponge stalks.
Wow. Like an
Oh, I see a
elephant
sponge
graveyard
up
worth
ahead
of them.
here.
Yeah, there's some Poliopogon sponges all over here, and I saw a Hymenaster. Everybody loves a Poliopogon, though.
Yeah, we do.
There might be a little feather star.
Go
on
for
it.
zoom video.
Going for zoom. Oh yeah, on the left side of it.
Yeah, feather star and a brittle star.
Nice.
What's the knobbly thing behind it to the right?
That's a dead stalk of a
Ah,
coral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Looks like a suction cup.
Yeah, so like they make this really strong base so they don't fall off the rocks.
So is it made of different stuff than the rest of the sponge?
No, it's the same. It's just you know,
really
they have
strongly
some
attached.
really nice like glue that they use. It stays on forever.
Go wide.
Going wide.
You know, if we could figure out what some of these animals do to adhere themselves to stuff.
Could be the new super glue.
Yeah, you know, like whatever barnacles use, getting those things off stuff is challenging. But I guess there's something also to be said about growing in place instead of actually just sticking an adhesive down.
Right. It's not like they suddenly just grow and then just come boinging across the seafloor and go.
Is that yellow thing in the middle biological or geological?
That is dead sponge. So you saw the polyopogon and how it had all the fibers at the bottom that were
Go for zoom.
part of the sponge's anchoring system to the seafloor. That's what that is.
Is it more recently
The sponge
dead?
is gone, but its base remains.
Oh, cool. Is it more recently dead or is it?
It's hard to tell. I mean, it looks like it's been gone for a long time with all that sediment that's on there.
Yeah.
Okay, go wide.
Going wide.
So can they get choked by sediment?
Yeah, they totally could. Sponges are filter feeders, so if they get a bunch of sediment in their tissues, it'll effectively suffocate the animal.
You could imagine there could have been a bunch of stuff came down slope. If there was an earthquake or something, they might have been having a perfectly happy life on a bare bit of rock.
Yeah. You see that sort of like whitish area right in the middle? If you just zoom in right now.
Okay,
I don't know
go
if it's
for
just
zoom.
like the sediment looking
Go for
weird
zoom.
or if it's actually something.
Just the really smooth area in the center?
No, it was lower down.
Oh, okay, go wide.
Lower down. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's just a sediment looking
A
weird.
trick of the light.
Yeah.
Got a question here. Has anyone on
What's
the
the
team
pink thing?
ever...
Oh, the pink thing is the sea cucumber.
Cool.
Okay, we can look at that.
Yeah. Sorry
Belle,
about.
what was your question?
Has anyone on the team ever run into something on
Go
the
for zoom.
seafloor and wonder how in the world did it get there?
I found a can of Spam once.
Really?
Kind of spam.
Yeah, it was 25% less sodium.
Healthy spam.
I mean, not anymore.
Go wide.
Going wide.
I was my first ROV cruise. We found a toilet on the seafloor,
No way.
Oh.
That's really funny.
and it was horrible. We were just doing black and white photography over some fresh lava flows. There was no hiding. It was,
That is
and then it
strange.
was immediately okay, what other research ships have been here? Because it's not on a place that was on main shipping
There's a
channels and
Brazilian
things.
sea star,
It's
and I
just-
cannot see it. I can see it in the upper, but I can't find it. And
Because it
Oh,
was,
must
yeah,
be
I
like
see.
right.
we had it on
below.
multiple different resolutions of
There it
mapping
is.
and things, and it was like,
Oh,
there's
there it
something
is.
down there, and then the camera's like, oh, that's not lovely.
I think my favorite thing that I've seen on the seafloor, it wasn't like in an ocean. It was in the Puget Sound, just in Seattle. But I was doing a small scale ROV operation, and we found an entire
for zoom.
pile of lime bikes, like lime bikes and lime scooters, like at the bottom of Puget Sound, and it was the wildest thing ever.
Like in the middle or near the edge?
It was kind of near like a nearby park, but it was just a substantial amount, and we were just unsure what to do with that information.
okay, go wide.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, giant pile of sunken rental bikes and rental scooters.
Oh, wow.
It was definitely something.
Do you reckon it was like thrown off a boat?
It had to be. It was so far away from any like pier or accessible shoreline, so I don't know. It was a mystery, so who knows? Maybe there's a big ol' operation to sink a bunch of rental scooters and bikes.
There was a lot of pushback on those
Yeah.
line bikes when they first started in Seattle. So
So I wouldn't be surprised if someone was just like, I'll get rid of them all.
yeah.
Disappear.
Actually, I know the answer to what's the weirdest thing you found at the seafloor.
Mm.
Bob Waters, our lead pilot.
Oh my gosh.
I was diving in North Teal in 1997, and we had a dive, and we
Oh,
were in the
look at
same
this
place as the
little
Alvin
stalk.
submersible.
You see it?
And I was just showing a clip of that when we were having a lecture earlier in the cruise. And Bob Waters came up to me afterwards and said, like, I was in Alvin that day. He was driving
Go
Alvin the same
Go
day.
visit.
So.
That's sort of the advantage of subs, right? Like, you really don't want to encounter another ROV at depth.
No,
That would
it
not be
took a
fun.
lot of...
I mean, if you went in together, we had a plan to dive together, but yeah.
But yeah, you
Yeah.
dive.
But that one was that Pat Hickey, who was the lead Alvin pilot at the time, had to come over to
I'm
our
checking
ship.
this out.
So they had
I,
both sets of dive teams were operating
it's a
like side by
bamboo.
side.
Oh wow.
So they had to set up the whole sort of
It's
like
got a little
top side,
crinoid on top.
moved across from the
Oh.
Atlantis to the Atalant.
That must have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he got red wine for lunch, which he wouldn't have had on the Atlantis. So.
All right.
Go wide?
Going wide?
I see now, yeah. Bamboo with crinoid.
I don't know if they still do, but they used to cater of a litre
It
of
did
red
look a little
wine per
weird,
person
though,
per
you know.
day.
Really?
That was their
I haven't seen a
rations that they
single
had.
Malula this
That's
whole
very
trip.
nice. Very.
Hopefully we'll see
Pretty
one.
generous.
And as,
A lot of red
as
wine.
uncivilized
Sediment,
Englishmen,
we'll see
we thought it was wonderful, and
Yeah.
all the French scientists and crew were like, yeah, but it's not
This
good
is-
wine. That comes out on Sundays. So that was...
It's the lunch wine.
So
and
my
the
boss,
nice
my boss Lindsay, he got both the Sunday dives because you could only get one scientist and two pilots in Atalant.
Uh-huh.
They just decided he had such an uncultured palate that he might as well go down to the seafloor on Sundays.
Didn't deserve the good wine.
Sunday dives because no French scientist wanted to dive and miss out on the good wine that came out for Sunday lunch.
I don't know if I would give up a dive for wine.
Go for Zoom?
Going for Zoom?
I mean, wine's good, but it's not that good.
Oh, some good wine is
Yeah,
really good.
see, you're not French
But if-
either. Yeah, you would totally get the Sunday dives.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I'm gonna go in a submarine. Yeah, of course I'm gonna do that.
I mean,
oh,
you could
there's
get
some
your
amphipods on there, and they're like a
friend.
little couple. It's so cute.
Is that a
to
sponge?
keep them back
or-
for you.
Yes, this is a sponge called Caulophacus, and it's got a brittle feather star on it. That's what's right underneath the spongy part. And then there are two mated amphipods
You can push in a little further.
Okay.
that are hanging out on there. They got really cool spikes on them. They're really, really fun.
This is all the way in for me.
Great. Beautiful.
Oh, look at them go. They're
Yeah,
so cute.
look at them just hanging out together.
So romantic.
Yeah.
We're
Best
talking about the
friends forever.
sponge? It's on the sponge?
Yeah, you see those little pink,
Wow.
pink and white? Those are amphipods.
These little guys. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
not a
that was
thing.
cool picture.
Yeah.
That's not going to do that.
It almost worked. You almost had it perfect.
Just there.
Yeah.
Those ones.
That's cool.
Wow, a drag circle. They were having fun on the Blue Watch. Adam must have been playing Pong with himself on the using the.
Imagine if you were an amphipod, just sitting on a stalk with your best friend.
Mm-hmm. Talking about eelgrass. And the little fish that hide amongst the eelgrass.
What's that?
Yeah.
Saying, see yours. Yeah, this is your favorite kind of sponge too? Says one amphipod to the other.
Yes.
Will you marry
Oh,
me?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Unmute. Okay.
Sounds like we,
Yeah, it sounds
Our-
like we're going to have to recover to fix the issue with Atalanta.
okay.
Alas. Just, yes, so, let's see. Yeah, you're good. Do your thing.
Do you want to keep that DNA sampler going?
Okay.
So actually, I've got a question. Do
Yeah.
you think it's likely we're probably going to go back in again, right? The dive. Do you think it's a fix that's going to be?
I think that's.
That's not going to be
I
our
would-
Yeah, I
call.
don't know.
I think there's
Um,
both a request for a dive and another AUV dive back at Vailulu'u, so I
Yeah.
suspect we'll probably go there while we're
Yeah,
giving the
we'll probably
engineers
go
time to
back.
recover, because
Yeah.
the sentry dive might just happen before the Herc dive.
Yeah. So it's just their request for the eDNA this dive was to do the pumps at the bottom and then all the Niskins on the ascent. And so it's whether we want to still do Niskins on the ascent.
Can we sort
Yeah.
out whether you guys want eDNA going or not going for
Oh,
this
I see.
ascent, and then we'll
Yeah,
start it?
that sounds good.
What sounds good?
I think I misheard you. I think
Do we need
Yeah.
to change the state of anything before we ascend?
Do we want to find
Yeah.
Niskins at different depths on the way up? Hang on, we'll get back to you in a moment.
yeah.
Okay. It's the sooner we can come up, sort of, the better off we are.
Understood. Give us 30 seconds.
Yeah, do it. Do your thing.
Yeah, we're not going to do any of that stuff, so Mary's just going to stop the eDNA pumps, and then she will let you know, and then you can secure power on them.
Okay. I'm just stretching out now. Yeah, I'll let you know when we're... Well, you'll probably see when we're stretched out or feel it.
Too bad we couldn't collect anything.
Yeah, for Mary's benefit, I think we probably will come back to the seamount. It's just this won't be the next operation.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't clarify that. We're going to
Yeah.
head over.
I see that.
suspect there's a last Vailulu
Yeah.
AUV dive and a last Vailulu ROV dive that have been requested. So I
Yeah.
think it'll make sense because it takes about 4 hours transit there. So that'll actually give some time for evaluation of what's happening with the ROV.
Yeah.
What's the goals of going back to Vailulu?
The AUV was because we only used a very short dive to do the engineering test for Guang Yu Zhou's project from
Okay.
APL. So it's to do some more work on that because he'd wanted a longer dive, but we were trying to get things done sooner rather than later. Well, I think he also needed a short dive to actually get some data. He was looking at multi-beam and water column data, which is big files, so we
Mary,
couldn't-
are we all set to go?
Yeah, sorry, we are set to go.
Okay, cool. Coming up. Sorry,
So-
Chris. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so we needed to transmit like an hour's worth of
Coming off the bottom.
test data for him to shore so that he could evaluate that and see if he wanted to change any settings and then go back in a second time. So 2 short dives was more valuable to him than 1 long one. And
Got it.
then
But why
Val from the
Vailulu?
sanctuary said, oh, because his
Bye,
stuff
Colonel
is
Vegas.
testing whether or not you can use multi-beam on an AUV to find gas plumes.
Oh, okay.
So like we were doing, do you remember when we did the Norbit
Yeah.
yesterday on the same
Yeah,
watch? And when we flew over, we could not just see the chimney, but we could see the gas plumes really well. And so the question is, can you do that with an AUV? And if you can, how many different heights could you go to? So that's what the sentry survey was yesterday when Herc was on deck between dives. And then Val had said it would be really useful to actually know what the ordinary fauna are on the outside of the volcanic cone, because Vailulu'u, although the inside stuff is really young lavas over the last 20 years, the seamount itself has been growing for as long as this one has, or maybe not quite that long.
I'm just setting a joy gain for my up, and I'll just approach some reasonable speed here.
Data,
Might take
let
a
me
little
know.
while to get leveled out.
Yep, I am ready.
Okay, great. So that was pump 2. It finished at 11:59.
Okay.
Depth 2990. And the total volume was 46941.
What? Oh, okay. Great. Thank you very much.
That's sample
No problem.
210.
Sample, yep, 210.
Should we let Adam and or Derek know that we're coming up? Will they get alerted anyway?
I think just send it in the chat.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that way, if they're awake, they will see it.
Mm-hmm.
How long will the ascent take from this step?
About
Looks like
100 minutes?
171 minutes at this pace, but I'm trying to speed up, so.
We should also think about if we want to wake up either Annette or probably
Yep.
Annette, to see if she wants to process that one pump or discard it. It's only 400, it's only 40 litres, so it
It's
was
probably
very
not.
big.
So one thing to think about is when we recover, we may want either Derek or Adam up, because somebody will have to decide
What to do
what's
next.
going on with the ship next.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we probably only need to wake them an hour beforehand. We can let them sleep a little
that
longer
makes
now.
sense. How's everything look?
Although theoretically they may have not gone to bed yet, because Adam only finished his watch 20 minutes ago. Oh, no, an hour
Okay.
ago.
An hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we
I
should,
think
yeah,
we can find
we
out.
should fill it a little more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that means I did a good job of air bleeding it, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know
So you
what?
think it's about 2 hours to the surface, Gabby? Is that what you said?
Hour and a
2.5.
half.
2.5 hours, maybe.
Okay, so 3:30 a.m., which is kind of close to watch change.
Oh, we said 100 minutes.
I think
Where are we at with
Yeah,
3,000
I've
meters?
got
So it's
forward way
100
on
minutes.
right
It's an
now.
hour and 40.
Like, if you put too much on, you just end up way the heck out. But like a certain amount of belly just happens there. Like, I can be more aggressive about it, but yeah. Yeah, so I always have a little bit. Yeah, so you end up with like a belly because you're going up. And you can put on as much as you want and you can get that belly to come out. But it doesn't buy you a ton. So you can kind of play with that. Like, if I find that I'm getting closer and closer to Atalanta, I'll put a little bit more on. But that means I'm going to need to fuss with my speed again, because when you put more horizontal on, it takes away from your vertical. We're that kind of limited with the hydraulics. We just run kind of on the edge. So I'm at 100 now. We'll see how fast that gets us. Yeah.
Anybody know Derek's number? Or what cabin he's in? Oh, he's in the same as...
He's in the same as Santiago.
Right,
Yeah.
right next to the mess, yeah.
Yep.
I just figure it's probably going to be kinder to wake him now if he wants to make a decision that we're going to transit. Then he can go back to bed because it'll be 7.
Yeah, that's a good call. I'm not sure
Is
which he would
this-
prefer. Because if he wakes up now, he can go back to bed,
Yeah.
right?
If
Is
the
this-
executive, if the decision is we're going to do a 4-hour transit once we
Yeah.
recover, then being woken up an hour after he went to bed and then being able to sleep till breakfast
Yeah.
is better than sleeping for a few hours and being woken up bleary-eyed. And
Yeah. Oh, I guess.
Do you want me to go wake him up?
Do you?
yeah, how you do
know-
Derek, and if Derek says we have to wake Adam, I'll go get Adam.
Yeah.
How's that?
All right.
Do you
that
know
sounds
this
good.
is a sort of problem that's likely, fixed and return on this dive? Because we had 18 hours for it, so it'd still get a decent dive if it did go back in.
I think because it's such a long descent that it would be, they'd probably want to get the other one in, but I'm not sure. That would be their call. But
I
it is
think
it's a
that's
long descent.
Sooner we know
so-
that, so that's probably a good reason for them to ask them now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they
Because
want to
they
know,
can-
do we go back
Yeah,
in here?
and that's what Derek,
Yeah.
that's Derek as expedition leader's call, really,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
best use of time.
All right, I'll go ask him.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I think he's only just gone to bed.
Yeah, he was around when we were. He was still awake for the launch and stuff. Actually, I think Derek probably has to be awake for the recovery anyway. I think he's part of the recovery team. Or he might help up if people are on watch
Yeah.
or not around. I'm sure Adam won't be mind being dragged back to the Lulu earlier than he expected.
I don't know if Sentry will be ready. If they weren't expecting a dive this morning.
They knew they had one coming.
Yeah.
But yeah. But if Herc's fixed.
Yep.
Well, that's the whole cascade out, right? That's why we tell the expedition leader and the science
yeah.
lead, and then they make those decisions of what's right to do. But they'll both be equally unready at 3 this morning. But either way, driving for 4 hours, because we've got to do that sometime, probably isn't the wrong thing to do. We can ask the front row what they know after we've done this weight drop.
What do we know about what?
Whether you can make any prediction of whether it's a straight turnaround for the ROV, like a straight fix, or whether there's
Oh, yeah.
like an unknown thing that has to be dealt with.
It should be like a 10-second fix of just reattaching the gauge to where it should be. Yeah, as long as it doesn't break off on the way up, and then it'll be a whole thing.
But then it'll be a 10-minute fix and then a 2-hour pre-dive.
It shouldn't be 2 hours if we are going to go right back in the water.
Okay.
Does Hercules
but that'll
have to
be-
come out of the water if it's a, just curious, if it's an
Yes,
Atlanta?
we need
Oh.
everything
Yeah, I think-
secure on deck before we can
Because you
touch
can't,
the
you
vehicles.
have to power it all down, so it has to be,
Oh, yeah.
everything has to be out of the water to...
And if we try to like bring out Atlanta on deck and fix it there, it's going to surge and pull, and
Yeah.
that'd be dangerous for
We don't
people to
wanna-
work on.
And it's not good for Herc to be bouncing around on the surface. It's kind of...
Yeah, yeah. We
It's
also
like-
don't want to be touching things with high voltage.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so sensible. Traditional. A traditional choice not to deal with electronics
Yeah.
in salt water.
I do have a question
have
from
to.
a student.
Yeah.
Wondering, does Hercules have any autonomous behavior?
It does have some... It has some things that the pilots can take advantage of. So they have an ability to do... They can do
there's
things
this,
like
like, autopilot.
setting up... Yeah, it can do like an auto XY, so we were using that yesterday for doing camera surveys, that you can basically dial in a move and say, okay, I want you to hover at a fixed depth and go
Great.
this distance
I
in this
am going to
direction.
do round of gauges just while we're here.
And then we were using it because it's very good for doing,
I
if
was
we're trying to
dropped
do
in my
photos
on-bottom
in a very
gauges.
regular grid pattern. We can just say go forward 10 meters, now go right 1.5 meters, now reverse 10 meters, and you can make a perfect square. I mean,
yeah.
you could mow a lawn fit for Wimbledon with Jason if it was doing that.
Yeah. I haven't seen that being done since we had that
Thanks, Chris.
issue last time. Yeah.
And in fact, there's even things like the pilot can leave things like thrusters and things running when we're actually doing sampling at the seafloor. Quite often it can actually be dialed in so that the porch is just perched against a rock and pushing there, and then that leaves everybody free to start using manipulators and sampling and stuff like that, but the vehicle's doing some of that stuff on its own.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to explain why it was taking me an eon to get back up here.
Well, I'm going to get the water column data I wanted, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be the only person getting data from this dive.
Yep, but you got that 3,000 meter profile, so glass half full, we achieved stuff.
Yeah, we did. We got a whole data set. Well, we will
Yeah.
when we get back to the surface.
There. Just little guys.
Tells you when it's dangerous.
But in a very cute way.
So this will probably be an entire blue water dive, whatever happens.
Well, we saw the seafloor,
We did. We saw
Yep.
the
which is
seafloor.
like, we haven't done that every dive.
No, we saw a
If we
few,
think back to the start of the cruise,
few rocks.
2.5 weeks ago,
Yeah.
we identified some organisms.
Yeah. Didn't see any CO2, which is entirely consistent with expectations.
So, Megan,
Yeah.
the animals we did see, the creatures we did see down at the seafloor at 3,000 meters, do you know whether they coincided with things that have been seen on previous dives at the top of the seamount?
Yeah, there's a lot of the similar things like the Caliphacus and the Poliopogon. We'll see them near the top of the seamount. Chrysogorgia are pretty common. The Brasicid sea star is pretty common. Everything we saw today, I think, pretty typical of these types of seamounts at these depths.
Well, there we go. So then that was something we achieved. That's why getting to the seafloor for the little bit we did was to know we extended the range of those things down from, if the only dive here ever before had only gone to the top of the seamount.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we know a little bit about the base of the seamount. I thought the density of the organisms was like pretty admirable for 3,000 meters.
Yeah.
We had a lot of sponges. I think it would have gotten really exciting if we had continued.
Yeah.
Because we only surveyed like maybe
Like
10
a few
10
square meters, right?
Yeah, of space.
Yeah, and the fact that we saw that much that quickly without going anywhere, that was just within the field of view of where we were hanging out.
Turned around a bit, and we saw a lot of different types of
Yeah,
things.
that was more than I thought we were going to see just in that little space of time. So
Yeah, I even saw a slime star.
I love the name Slime Star.
Yeah.
How good is that?
You want to know why it's called that?
I would love to know why it's called that.
When you collect one, it just produces like buckets of mucus.
Oh, great.
Oh.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, so that's why we don't collect those.
Is it like defensive mucus?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
It just like produces it. Kind of like a hagfish, you know?
I actually don't know anything about a hagfish.
You don't know about hagfish and their mucus?
I don't know about hagfish and mucus.
Oh,
Can you
yeah,
tell me about
that's one of their
hagfish?
defensive mechanisms is they, nothing wants to eat them because if they do try to chomp on one, it just produces all this mucus and it chokes the predator. It just turns all the water into this lovely slime.
You know, I admire something that has that much of a commitment to not being eaten.
Yeah, but
And like
there
that.
is a fishery for them, and so we make it work for us.
How do they deal with the like mucus situation?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Maybe it's a specialty. You just like
I think, you know, if you're in the hagfish industry, that's a secret that they hold dear.
it's it doesn't have a good name for like a fish you want to eat, like fresh catch of the day hagfish.
I'm sure that's not what they call it. But they also like harvest them for their skin. They make like leather.
Oh really? Fish leather?
Yeah, you can
That's
get like a
crazy.
hagfish wallet, but I think they call it something different. I think they just call it eel, but it's not an eel.
I was gonna say, I feel like
There's a
hagfish
jawless
wallet.
fish.
is
They're
like-
their own thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
That
hagfish
hag-
doesn't sound very appealing.
Yeah.
I feel like hagfish have got a pretty bad lot in this situation. They get farmed. They get turned into wallets. Their defense doesn't work.
Oh yeah, they like to tie themselves into knots, and that's how they like slough off some of the slime that they produced. It's really fun to watch them at the seafloor. Just kind of like, I don't know, do their own thing. They're really weird. Yeah. Yeah, they're super weird.
On which side of your family?
Got an interesting question here.
Go for it.
Autumn season is up here in the North Hemisphere. Have some fall fun words to share with you as we try to recover.
Mm-hmm.
So there's spices, pies, pieces, and species. Could you share with us what are your favorite pies and fall season spices are? From Ohio.
Good question.
I like pumpkin pie. I can eat pumpkin
Yeah?
pie any time of the year. Didn't realize that it's an autumn fall thing. I just thought it was a whole year.
Mm-hmm. A year-round thing?
Yep.
Well, pumpkin harvest happens in the fall. That's why it becomes, if you wanted fresh pumpkin pie, then that would be...
True, true.
I am going to go for, in the US, I really like blueberry pie, just because blueberry pies is not a thing that I grew up with in the UK.
Agreed.
But my favorite absolute thing from my childhood that my mom used to make was called apple and blackberry crumble, with like a crumble pastry on the top.
Yeah,
It
it sounds
was
really
just
good.
It was just that combination of sweet and tart that it was...
I think I really
one
like...
day I'll go on.
Sorry. I think I really like savory pies. So like...
Meat pie?
No, more like maybe like spinach and feta or something. Like some savory vegetable pie. And my favorite autumn spices would be mulled wine spices. It's like the beginning of mulled wine season. So
Never heard of that.
it's like a hot wine you drink in winter, and it's got lots of like cinnamon and cloves and different spices in it, and orange, and apple maybe. And it's really good.
If you've been out walking around in the cold and the drizzle and the rain, it's the kind of thing that warms you back up from the inside out.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Stuff you don't have to worry about in Tutuia.
Oh, I still recommend mulled wine, even if it's...
Mulled one's
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah.
What's the question?
What's your favorite
You have to
fall
know. You
thing?
listen to our answers, and you have to tell us what the question was that you missed.
Favorite pies and spice for
It's
fall and autumn
Ooh.
question. Yeah.
All right. Well,
From a Chris too.
yeah.
Oh, it
Oh,
is?
right.
The
Yeah.
student is asking his Chris?
Guy from Ohio, Chris from
Ohio.
Ohio.
All right. Hey, Chris. Let's see. Favorite pie? The kid in me really, I love blueberries. Blueberry pie is probably my favorite. And then my favorite spice ever is, you can have it any season, but it goes really well in the fall, but it's nutmeg. I love nutmeg.
From Ro?
My favorite spice is cloves. And my favorite pie, I really like chocolate pie. You like chocolate pretzel pie?
You made that
Chocolate
up. It's like the
pie.
most basic thing.
I just really
make up
want chocolate, okay? Oreos aren't cutting it. I left my peanut butter cups in my fridge.
I just love that Gabby thinks that's made up. It's literally just chocolate and pie.
Wait, chocolate pie is a real thing?
Yeah.
Chocolate cream pie.
It's 100% a thing.
Everything can be a pie.
What?
What? How is it like soft chocolate? Is it like
yeah.
mousse?
It's
like
yeah,
a
it's like kind of
chocolate
a
pie.
mousse,
Yeah,
in a
mousse.
pie
Yeah, yeah.
crust.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And you put some like whipped cream on top.
Because without the whipped cream, it just isn't decadent enough, right?
Yeah,
It's just
no.
a
Maybe this is another, like, I'm associate pies as being like a hot thing that you eat. And I can't
it's hot.
imagine
No,
that.
it's
It's
a
like a
cold
pudding.
pie
Yeah.
or like a peanut butter pie.
Oh, it gets
you know,
better.
like
What?
refrigerator pie. You take like
peanut butter pie.
Peanut butter. You mix
You
it
wash
in
your
with
mouth
the
out. That's
cool-
the.
You mix it with the Cool Whip and you put it in the pie crust and you top it with chocolate.
Oh, can we have
Do you
one?
have cheese whiz in there
Yeah,
as
I
well?
want one
This
of
is like the most
No.
American pie
Yes,
ever.
yeah,
Cheese
Midwest.
whiz, peanut butter, and chocolate.
I am here for
That's
it. This
staples
sounds
here.
great.
Oh yeah, I've had British
With
food
a burger
before.
on
You
top.
can just know.
Oi.
Salads that aren't really
Great pies.
salads.
Yeah, you have steak and kidney and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
But good luck finding the steak.
Yeah, all
I
kidneys.
think I'm alright without organs.
Yes.
Steak and kidney pie was one of my mom's favorites.
Well, it
I
was
don't know
funny. I had, when I first moved to the US as a postdoc, and that was it. And the colleague Kelly, who's like, she and her husband put me up when I first arrived. I'd known them before I got there. And they were like, oh yeah, we went over to England when we were like buying some piece of equipment for the lab. And yeah, said like, you know, we went for like, they said they were going to take us out for a pub lunch, and they went out and we had kidney pie. And I said, no, I think you found it was steak and kidney pie. He said, no, it was just kidney pie. It was, but it was lovely. It was just like, yeah,
Nice.
this American approach to British cuisine.
No
Yeah.
steak.
In fact, I
roasted.
remember,
You get like a couple pieces in there.
yeah, one per family, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Who gets the steak in the steak and kidney pie?
I didn't realize this would be such a polarizing topic for everyone in the band.
And we all started, it was just a very, what are good flavors for fall. It was because they're getting fall foliage
Oh,
in
yeah,
Ohio,
yeah.
and so the
It
question
would
was
be, yeah,
that
makes
kind of
sense.
pie and what kind of spices for
Like-
fall, and
Pumpkin pies and pecan pies and
everyone will be obsessing about their
Mincemeat
pumpkin
pies.
lattes and
yeah,
strange
Pumpkin pie
things.
is
and
another
beers,
thing.
pumpkin beer.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, there's which was the Shipyard Ale has in Maine they have a pumpkin beer. Yeah.
I think somebody mentioned
I'm
that
sure a lot of
earlier
people
this-
do, but-
this cruise. Yeah.
I haven't heard of it.
It's some of
Sounds
them
good.
are really sweet and I don't like them, but some of them has just got
Mm.
that hint of pumpkin spice
Yep.
flavor, and
Yeah,
those are
they're really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty solid.
Seasonal ales.
There's a lot in Seattle. You get a lot of those kind of beers,
Mhm.
seasonal beers like that, craft seasonal beers.
Do you know if they brew them with the spices and stuff inside, or do they just
You know, they
add
also
some
have peanut
flavoring at
butter
the end?
beer.
Yes, they brew them with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a brewery behind the bar I used to work at that made a peanut butter and jelly beer, and it
Peanut
tasted
butter.
like
Oh, okay.
peanut butter and jelly. It
Actually,
was-
yeah, nobody had mentioned peanut butter and jelly pie, right? We
Yeah.
had peanut butter pie and peanut butter and chocolate pie and
Chocolate pie sounds so good.
peanut butter chocolate and cheese whiz pie with jelly on the
The
side.
cheese whiz pie. I don't know.
I've
about
had
that.
a maple bacon beer before.
Yeah, yeah.
It tasted just like breakfast.
Maple syrup pie.
Maybe you could do that.
I bet you
Maple
could. I bet if you go far enough north in
Oh,
Maine,
you know what
Yeah,
I
you
really
could
like?
totally
Those
get
maple
maple
pecan pies.
candies that they have in Canada.
I
Maple
haven't had
candy. I've
those.
heard
They're
of
like
those.
shaped like maple leaves, and
Oh.
it's like a maple sugar candy.
I feel like most things in Canada are shaped like maple leaves.
I think it's like a gimmicky thing, but I really like them.
I don't know which way it goes, but apparently there are
The
maple
maple
syrup
candies.
smugglers
They're so
Ooh.
good.
who actually smuggle maple syrup across the border between northern Maine and Canada. It's a
Huh.
thing.
Really?
I found out from Jill McDermott, who we were collecting the IGT samples
Oh,
from
yeah.
when she was doing her PhD
Oh,
with
that
me and
sounds
Jeff
really
Seaward at
good.
Woods Hole. I did a road trip with my son. He was moving to do an
I
internship
don't
in
need
LA,
a
so we
lot,
drove cross
just
country.
enough for joy.
And at some point we'd just driven out of West Texas into New Mexico. Oh, yeah, and so suddenly the border with Mexico steps up much closer to where we were. So we're driving across the top of West Texas. We were like hundreds of miles from the border, and then suddenly the border came up. And so we were staying on the same interstate, and then suddenly there was this compulsory, everyone had to pull off and just do an ID check. And we'd set off, we didn't have our green cards and passports with us because we weren't leaving the US, but
Oh, yeah.
then they were saying, well, we want to see this. And they're like, why don't you have this? And we said, well, because we live in New England, we don't need to do that kind of stuff. You know, it's not something we'd encountered in the first 10 years we lived here.
Uh-huh.
And they went, oh, no, you have to do it in New England as well. So I got back and was relaying that story to Jill after we'd done the road trip and I'd flown back and was saying, so, like, it's not like and I was just jokingly said, like, it's not like anybody does a lot of, like, maple syrup smuggling, and is it, across the border? He said, actually, that is a thing. It's like, it's a known, I can't remember which way it is, but it was trying to avoid taxes. There are known tracks through the wild forest, like,
with maple
like
syrup.
unpaved roads and things. And
No way. Well, I guess the black market maple syrup trade is probably.
I don't know.
Although a pint of good maple syrup is expensive.
And then it was, then I saw it on Northwoods Law, it's a TV show about, like, different things of, like, game wardens and things. And it actually featured, it came up in a story of, like, oh, I thought Jill was just teasing me. And then it was like, no, it really is a thing. Maple syrup smugglers. It's like it's a worthy cause, right?
I
feel
think
like
so. It's much better
if
than
I couldn't
a lot
be
of other things
if I couldn't be a deep sea oceanographer.
Yeah, maple syrup smuggler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if it's
That
a
sounds like
lucrative
a,
field.
just exciting enough of a life to
Yep.
keep you on your edge.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the
Well, especially if
stakes-
you're, like, driving down these unpaved roads with trucks in the dark. You never know if there's going to be a moose around the corner. It's like
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for those
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah.
Got to make sure you don't get held up by a bear wanting your syrup as well.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
Highway,
Yeah,
highway bear.
especially outside of hibernation season. It's
Yeah.
like spring is the worst. They got an
They're
appetite.
really hungry, yeah.
They know what kind of pie they want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you can't have bacon, have human. Human and maple syrup. That'll
yeah,
go
the
nice.
bacon maple syrup pies.
Yeah.
We've got some more questions that are coming in.
Probably
All
good.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, but
We went
nothing about
kind of
pies, I
we
know.
went AWOL on that last one.
Yeah, so I guess I'll ask two at a time.
Ooh.
Has the team ever collected water samples at different depths to see the level of microorganism are in those depths? And then the second question is personal checklist or bucket list of things or creatures to see from this ocean exploration expedition.
So the eDNA sampler is doing the microbes.
Yeah.
It would be doing it on this dive, except we're not diving. But there's this, so Annette and Santiago and Val have been running this eDNA sampler that pumps through lots of seawater and filters out anything that gets trapped in these very fine filters. And then they'll do sequencing to work out what species were present in that water. And that will be microorganisms and large animals. So that's the answer to that question.
It's it's definitely a thing we've been doing is a specific part of all our dives has been trying to do that and looking at both how it moves, how it changes with depth in the water column, and then how that changes as you get through different seamounts in different parts of the area around here. Things we would like to see while we're here. We've all been spending a lot of time outside just keeping each other in touch if there's any whale sightings or large mammals. I think that's been, when we're not looking at the animals on the seafloor, we're all just outside. When we have downtime, when we're not looking at the seafloor for work, then we're looking at the surface of the ocean for fun instead. So.
And then I have another question. Have you ever had a surprise volcanic eruption or earthquake while doing the ROV dive recorded? And are we ever going to go and explore the Tonga volcano that erupted a couple of years back? would you like to take a look?
Can you repeat the first question? I forgot already what the first one was.
If we ever had a surprise volcanic eruption or earthquake while the ROV is exploring.
I have never experienced that. I think the earthquakes have happened. I think, as far as I know, the volcanic eruptions are usually more predicted because you can see changes in the topography and properties of the seafloor, and so you have more of an idea that in an area where it's monitored, like a known volcanic area, but I don't think there's ever been a surprise one that I know of during an R&D dive.
I haven't heard of one either.
Yeah. Though sometimes they've gone down and find that it did erupt in the last several years and they didn't necessarily know that it had erupted, but I don't think there's been one that's happened during a dive.
Yeah. This one at the Vailulu'u one has erupted since it was last explored, so in the last few years. Also, back to the previous question, I did have a bucket list thing that I've seen on this dive. So since I was a little kid and I first heard about hydrothermal vents and all those things, I've always wanted to see one. I didn't even think that was going to be a possibility until I got this job. And then since I started working here, I've been hoping to see one, and I got to see one this trip, so I can check that one off my list.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, it was.
They're great.
I'm very happy about all of those dives. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and I know we won't be able to check out the volcano in Tonga. It has to be a requested from the community members as well as the researchers, and funding is also involved as far as having these expeditions. So not during this expedition, hopefully years to come, all dependent on the request as well as funding an expedition like such.
Yeah.
Sam, do you have any bucket list of things that you were hoping to see during this expedition?
You know, kind of similar to what Chris had mentioned, I was always curious about seeing hydrothermal vents, so I think getting to see hydrothermal vents on my third dive in ever was pretty cool. But then also a lot of the stuff that we ran into even beforehand, like the Mola Mola, was really awesome. And we seem to get really lucky with our particular watch of getting to be on the bottom for those really cool moments. So I'm very happy about that, and I feel pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
It's been a really cool way to start off.
I'm interested to hear from Megan, because I'm sure Megan have seen a lot of cool stuff.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen lots of different things, and on this expedition, I'm always looking for new species. So every time we do a dive like this, the potential is there. We've done so little exploration in our deep oceans that we oftentimes find new species on dives. And so I was really looking forward to making collections of potentially new species for description. Now what that would be, I don't know, because we haven't seen it yet. It's brand new. It's exciting. It's exploration. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Great answer.
But like a new coral or a new sponge would be really cool. Or sea star for Chris Ma, because, you know, he always gets really excited and he's always following us on these dives and chiming in with identifications of new species, potentially, and requesting collections of those things. Like the that crinoid that we collected on, was our second dive on bottom, that was pretty shallow. That's potentially a new species.
That was the black and yellow one?
Yeah, the black and yellow one.
That one, so the pigment from it is actually really green.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a really pretty dark green color.
Oh,
and
wow.
it kept leaching out. I had to change the ethanol out on that a whole bunch of times.
Yeah,
It's really pretty green though.
that is really cool. Oh, and yeah, the other day, everybody kept telling me about this squid and describing it to me, and I hadn't seen it, but then I saw a picture that one of the screenshot sharing group posted. So there's a Facebook group that follows the ROVs, and they'll post screenshots from the dives, And so I got to see that animal, and it's actually a pelagic octopus and not a squid. But everyone was really excited to tell me about the squid they saw, and I loved that. I was like, Megan, did you see it? I was like, no, I missed it.
Was that on this cruise?
Yeah, that was when we were sleeping. So we launched the vehicle, then we went to sleep, and then they saw this cool pelagic octopus, and I missed it.
I still can't get over the bay pipefish, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like,
What?
dead serious that bay
Nobody
pipefish are my
ever
favorites.
knows what I'm talking about.
I mean, I
They're
know.
so cool.
I feel like Pacific Northwest fish are
Yeah.
quirky. Because I was going to say, like, probably close second is Pacific Spiny Lumpsucker.
Yes.
Yeah, those ones are adorable.
They're so cool.
And those are found in the Pacific Ocean, or?
Pacific Northwest specifically, near, like, Washington, D.C. The Pacific Spiny Lumpsucker, for anyone who's watching, you should Google and look at a picture of them because they look like little yellow ping pong balls that have a suction disc on the bottom of their bodies. They can't swim very well, but they like latch on to sometimes eelgrass or other flat surfaces around. They're very adorable, but bay pipefish are my favorite. I almost got a bay pipefish tattoo, actually. That would have been...
I know.
Wow.
I actually was going to as
Oh
well.
my gosh, what? Right? Are we
I
gonna
would
get...
scream if we ended up with...
So there's a while ago we had a question about interesting facts or favorite facts, and one of my favorite like little bits of trivia ever is that Jacques Cousteau's favorite place to go scuba diving was in Puget Sound.
Yes!
Because it's got some of the most diverse and unique underwater life on the entire planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where in Fiji?
In Puget Sound
Oh.
by Seattle.
Yeah.
And like an area, so there's just, it's a really amazing ecosystem there because it gets so deep so quick.
Yeah.
And
You got the kelp beds.
Kelp beds,
Kelp
yeah.
beds are amazing.
I've seen quite a few like giant Pacific octopuses on not too crazy deep dives and stuff like that, and then you also get spiny dogfish, like the small sharks and everything.
yeah. And they have like 6 gill sharks. And,
Yeah.
And they found some 7 gill sharks recently. There's some more
Oh
in
my
there.
gosh.
And yeah, I've seen lots of octopus there too. That's one of my favorite places to go diving as well. It's just so cold and the visibility's not very good.
I know. It's the price we pay
Yeah,
for
yeah.
good wildlife in the area.
One of my brother's friends was diving over by the Tacoma Narrows, and a basking shark went past him.
Oh, that's cool.
Basking shark, wow. They're huge.
Yeah, so it scared the crap out of him.
I can
I
imagine.
feel like it takes probably like a moment to work out what you're seeing.
Oh,
and
yes.
then having like a 12 meter or whatever.
Yeah, he said he
Or
saw
not
it like
12,
in the distance
7
as this
meter.
like shadowy lump
Yeah.
that was like a feature or something,
Yeah.
and just kept getting closer, and then eventually it was just this thing passing by him for like.
That's amazing. Basking sharks breach as well. They do this thing where they like fully like torpedo towards the surface and then jump clear out. And they're
Really?
these huge fish and they like jump so athletically when they want to.
Oh, cool! I had no idea.
Yeah,
that
they're
did that.
weird creatures, but they're
They are.
amazing. You get schools, or small schools of them sometimes off the coast of Ireland and the UK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
Yeah, me neither.
Yes, if anybody goes to Seattle and is willing to brave the cold, it is a wonderful place to go diving. Like wolf eels and red Irish lords and
So
cool
it doesn't get
octopus.
warm?
Now the water stays about 52 degrees pretty much year
I did
round.
not know that.
Yeah, it stays
It's
the
cold.
same. But in the good thing about that is in the wintertime it's warmer than the air. So
Oh.
Even in Southern California, the currents that come down from the Arctic or the North Pacific are so cold that it's always sunny and warm on the beach, but the ocean is never warm. Even in like La Jolla and San Diego when they go surfing,
Yeah.
they don't go without a wetsuit. It's
Yeah.
It's not Honolulu.
No.
So this is a loaded question, an ability for me to brag, but what's the weirdest or what's the most wonderful animal you've actually found yourself swimming with?
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
And I'd better go first because
Yeah.
it was last time I was on Nautilus. At the end of the cruise, I then got a little internal flight down to the Big Island because I was just obsessing about the volcano that was erupting. So I hiked along to the thing, and then I kayaked around, and then I ended up riding a helicopter. But at the end of all that, then I just went back to the hotel I was staying at and went out to swim one evening, and something bumped into me, and I kind of like freaked out, wondered what it was, and stood up, and it was actually a turtle.
Oh.
It was like a green turtle had actually was
cool.
swimming, came in real close to shore, and then just turned around. It was like a little rocky promontory.
Yeah.
There was
Alright.
hardly any actual sandy beach, but it was just like, nope, I've had a hot day, I've been doing hiking, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. I'm going to go for a swim and just cool off at the end of the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was just a giant turtle. It's like I didn't even know they were in that area.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like-
nice. It's a surprising
Oh, there's
bump.
a lot of turtles.
Yeah, but
There's a lot of them.
Cool.
I think probably the most surprising for me was I swam with some dolphins in the UK, and it's like they
wow.
were not, you get dolphins in the UK, but it's not like they're often that close to shore and whatever. So it was very unexpected, but very cool. They
Were you out diving somewhere when it happened, or?
We were out diving, yeah. We were diving off the coast of Cornwall. And yeah, we're out on
Wow.
a dive boat near the coast though. Like
Yeah,
right
yeah.
out at the entrance of Falmouth Harbour, I think. One of the harbours in Cornwall. And then a bunch of dolphins. Yeah.
I guess
Cornwall
it
looks
is.
like a beautiful place. I've
Yeah,
never been, but it looks
it's
incredible.
really
It's
beautiful.
where my
yeah.
grandfather came from.
Oh, really?
The one that ran away to sea when he was 16.
Yeah.
That was where he was from.
Yeah.
I'd have to get back there when I can.
It's really beautiful.
They have a distinctive like burr to their like a really warm rounded accent there.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of weird. One of the weirdest cruises I ever did was going on a little ship from Duke Marine Laboratory in down east in North Carolina. And we went out and we had this experimental 5,000 meter rated ROV that ran on a single optical fiber called Nereus. And we were lifting it off this ship that was so tiny that when you swung the ROV out, the whole ship tilted until you put the thing in the water. And the crane operator couldn't actually see the deck where he was landing the thing. We just had to have two big wooden beams, and we'd bring the thing in and slide it down the wooden beams.
All right.
And the only thing that I found it reassuring was it turned out that the bosun had this accent that was known as being local to down east in North Carolina, right out on the peninsula there.
Uh-huh.
It was identical to my grandfather's accent. And so
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like, here's this like seafarer who was like talking with calm assurance in the same accent that my granddad did that I grew up with, just telling me everything was going to be fine. And it was just like, oh, okay, this is going to be just fine.
That sounds.
I'm chief
sounds very
scientist, I don't
nice.
have to worry about it at all. But he had no idea that that was like the real thing. It wasn't the words he was saying, it was
Yeah.
just the way he was saying it was, oh yeah, this feels like a safe space. It's
What about you?
Let's see.
Stingrays.
he won't have enough.
I've seen.
Stingray. I was
stingrays.
gonna
There's-
say,
there's been
I
lots
saw
of
your
stuff.
presentation.
Chris won't
Yeah.
have enough fingers and toes to count all the amazing things he's
Yep.
swum with in
I've been
Palmyra Atoll.
Very fortunate. There's manta rays, like huge manta rays. Those are really amazing. Recently, I got to swim with some pilot whales, a pod of pilot whales.
Whoa.
That was pretty amazing. They're big. And then I don't know the giant octopus in the northwest. I've seen them like out swimming in the water column, and the thing was
Really?
Yeah, it was like 8 to 10 feet from tentacle to tentacle, and it was
That's
huge.
Wow.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So, I don't know. I could probably go on
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, we'll let you, but we. That's not a bad starter list, right?
Yeah.
That's his podium position, bronze, silver, and gold right there. Pilot whales. How big are they?
Oh,
They're like
The males can be like a killer whale size,
Hmm.
about like 20 feet or so. The one I saw was probably about, I would guess, around 20 feet.
Enough to make you feel small.
Very small.
What about you, Belle?
I think turtles.
Yeah.
There's a place in Apia, independent state of Samoa. There's a family there that owns a piece of property near the ocean, and I think people go there and pay to swim with
To have the-
feed the
Right, to
turtles.
go hang out
Oh,
in that
right.
area with them.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's banned now because they're not supposed to be, turtles are not supposed to be like pets.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I felt bad about. Was like I was swimming and then suddenly there was a turtle and I was like, am I not meant to be here? And then it's
Well,
like,
I think if it touches you, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, right.
That's
It's
just
like
the
it's like
turtle's
when
choice.
the humpback whales came to see us when we were just
Yeah.
stationary doing it. We weren't doing anything,
Mhm.
and the humpback whales came to visit. I think Val
Yeah.
was explaining that of like, no, if you're not actively chasing them,
Right.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of turtles in American Samoa, the wharf, even the wharf that.
oh
the
really?
port,
Yeah.
you'll see some turtles
Oh,
there.
cool.
Yeah,
Have
that's
to
why
look
I'm
out
like,
for them when we get back.
yeah, pretty cool. But the only problem is you can also see sharks there. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's been
types
some
of-
accidents.
Maybe I'll paddle, but not swim
yeah.
out too deep.
I heard that there's
Yeah.
tiger sharks.
Whoa.
Yeah, someone got, I think someone died because of,
Mm.
they tie, I think they went fishing and they tie the fish around
Oh.
their waist.
Yeah.
Oh, to bring
Yeah.
back, and so
Yeah, and then,
left a good tasty scent in the water.
yeah, and I think there was another accident near the Star Kiss. Apparently, they find food, they feed there,
Mm.
and there was someone there that just happened to be there and got, yeah.
We get great white sharks where we live on Cape Cod now.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah, especially
are
at the
huge,
far end
yeah?
of the peninsula.
They're huge. Yeah.
So it's actually, yeah, at the far end of Cape Cod is another one of the National Marine Sanctuaries called Stellwagen Bank. That's a big humpback feeding area. So, yeah, if you do go whale watching there, they are sufficiently confident that you'll see things that they guarantee your money back if you don't see when you go on the whale watching tours. They're that confident that you're going to see stuff.
Oh, wow.
But
interesting.
The most recent time I went was a few years ago now, but it turned out there had actually been a mortality, that a whale had died. And so the captain of the ship took us there anyway to watch the great white sharks feeding.
Oh, man.
wow.
So it's like recycling happening in nature,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it was like vicious. It
Yeah,
was
I
like,
can imagine.
whoa. That's, yeah, my son's partner, they come on vacation like most summers, but Anna had like introduced me to the fact that you could get a shark app that'll
Yeah,
then tell you about
Sharktivity.
shark
Oh, wow.
sightings near you.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
it's you can
handy.
actually.
It's very
So
handy.
what it is
Yeah.
on the outer cape, there's a lot of seal colonies.
Uh-huh.
So that's actually what the sharks, when they migrate up that way in the summer, it's the seals is their natural prey. That's what they come to eat. But the seals are like the right size and shape to be not that different in size and shape if you're swimming around in the water than a human if they swim out too far.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a thing that everyone's like gets warned about.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's that particular end. If you're at that particular end of the cape, and then if you're swimming out where the seals are as well, then that's
Might get
about as
mistaken.
foolish as you can
Yeah.
do,
Yeah,
right? That's
get mistaken for a seal and
yeah.
end up
It's,
as
it's
lunch.
avoidable, right?
Yeah.
And,
It's unfortunate that's also the really good surf spot.
Yes,
It's like the
there-
only good surf spot. So
that is
you
very
know.
unfortunate.
it's a bad combination.
Salmon, right?
Go for it, buddy.
I think for me, swimming with sea lions was probably
Oh, yeah, that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
So that's happened a couple of times. I went down to San Diego pretty recently this year, so it was my first time like swimming around in San Diego, which is pretty cool. But this is the fun one. When I was in the Aleutians last year specifically, we did a little pit stop at one of the volcanic islands nearby, and we had managed to just park the vessel, get on our little Zodiacs, and then we managed to just like chill out at a natural hot spring, which was great. But then we would go in between the Bering Sea, very cold water, and then the very, very hot spring water. And there were a ton of very curious stellar sea lions around the area, and that's what we were researching and working on. So it was kind of terrifying because they're also huge. And you have to like really keep your distance away from them because the males can charge at you and everything. And they're very agile in the water, even though they're very large animals. The moment they hit the water, it's like they're torpedoes. So it's absolutely wild. But yeah, sea lions are pretty cool. And I've swam with them also in Seattle. Kayaking, you see them all the time. But swimming with them is a whole nother level. But yeah, it's always a case of them approaching you, because I would never want to like actively put myself in a situation where I'm close to all of those in general. Because yeah, they got teeth.
Those hot springs, the hot springs were in the ocean? Like
No. So they were on land. We just happened to park one of the vessels nearby.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a super cool chain of islands up there in Alaska. Lots of volcanic activity. And one of the volcanoes on the chain had recently erupted, and we had pictures from the field team just from a couple years prior with this giant, mountain cone shape that they hiked up on, actually, at that point during the expedition a few years past.
Oh, wow.
And then we came back, and it's completely gone. Like, no cone, giant crater.
Whoa, the whole top of it just blew off?
The whole top of it just blew off, and it was really cool to kind of compare before and afters. But yeah, on previous years of the expedition, they would regularly just stop by that island and just do a little hike. And now that does not exist anymore. So it's really cool to see recent activity in that regard too. So comparing it to what we see here with the seamounts too, it's really awesome to kind of get the above and below comparison. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sea lions are scary beasts.
Yeah, they're big.
They're loud too.
I've been chased down a grassy hill by one in South Georgia, in the Southern Ocean, and it was just like we wanted to go out, and we were just going out for a hike, and then there was just some part where you couldn't get there without like picking your way along the hiking trail was through amongst like a seal, just where a bunch of sea lions were hanging out, and it was like, as long as they kept quiet, they were like pretty calm and fine as we went out on the hike. But then when we came back later in the day, it was just like, you're coming around a second time coming through our house. It's like,
yeah, right.
And then this like giant male came lumbering down the hill, and it was like, okay, he's not moving that fast, but he's picking up speed, and
he's big.
It's like, and if he gets, we need to work out our relative velocities here and get across his path and out the other side. It was like a large mammalian avalanche.
Yeah.
You know what? I just remembered the coolest animal that I've ever swum with is jellyfish in Palau.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh,
yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah,
You
at first
swum
I was
with
like,
them?
yeah. At first I was like, they were like, go, it's safe. You're not gonna get stung or anything like that. So I'm like, there's just so many. I'm scared. And they're like, no, seriously, you won't feel it. So I jumped in and I freaked out and went crazy. I'm like, dude, I wish I had an underwater camera just to.
Right.
But they're transparent, so you can't really see them. But you can kind of feel them.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you can't feel it. You can't feel it sting you, but just like mushy.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I think that's the coolest thing that I've
That's
ever.
extraordinary. Yeah.
Yeah. In
Wow.
Palau. So if you guys are part of the upcoming expedition.
Right, the ship's going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to see a lot of clams and fed a few white-tip sharks too. Come really close.
Nice.
I was like, oh, I'm feeding them. And they're like, yeah, go ahead, feed them. As it got closer, I freaked out and ran. Yeah. So that's probably the coolest for me.
Wow. Yeah. Are any of you in the front row coming back for the Palau? Any of the Palau
Debbie
expeditions?
and I are.
Yeah?
Me too.
Oh, and Raya is too.
You're all coming back.
I'm
Okay.
here-
Wow.
I'm here for 7 weeks.
Oh,
It's
wow.
gonna be.
Well then,
You're
you
gonna
can
be
put
sick of me.
you can put swimming with jellyfish on your to-do list when you get there.
Raya, are you leaving between the two trips, or are you staying on for
I'm staying on for
everything?
For
everything.
mapping?
All
Wow.
till the end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You and her can be best buds.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Don't break off the engagement with Samantha too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the heck,
Yeah, it's
right?
good. Should at least.
She's
Yeah.
right there.
I know.
Yeah,
What's
it's
gonna
like-
happen?
Can I do launch recovery salvo for a second? I'm just looking at the winch. No. Can I take a look at it somehow?
What's in the front row is what have been some of the craziest things you all have seen underwater?
Craziest. Well, there was, I went to Kona to go swim with the manta rays, and they guarantee manta rays because they're there most of the time. And, yeah, then there weren't any manta rays on that dive.
No.
But it was actually really fantastic because we went exploring the area and we went down and saw the garden eels, and then there was this really big moray eel, and he was showing off and tying himself into knots and like doing this whole thing, and that was really cool. And there was a monk seal, and she was hanging out with us too. And then a pod of bottlenose dolphins came by, and we heard them before we saw them, and they hung out. And so we had like a whole party
Whoa.
without the manta rays. And the nice thing is a
They
lot of
missed
the
out, huh?
operators, if you don't see manta rays, will invite you back for free, because they're usually there like every day, but for some reason they weren't there that day. But we saw everything else.
Everybody else snuck in while the parents were
Yeah,
away, right?
It was. It was really cool.
Manta Ray house party. Like, there's some good questions have been coming in.
Yeah. Got some followers with
Oh,
us.
cool.
So I've been in the water when orcas have been in the water.
Oh, that's so cool.
Where was that?
That was on a small island off of Vancouver Island.
How?
And they came, I feel like, I mean, when you're in the water and they're in the water, it always feels closer.
Well,
I
they're
feel like it was
huge.
like about 15 feet away,
Wow.
and I was just swimming, and they just come close to the shore, and it was just a small group of transient orcas, so I think there was 3 of them. But yeah, they just did a little drive-by.
Whoa.
Could you
Cool.
see them underwater, or was the visibility not good
Visibility was not good enough. Trust me, I tried.
enough?
Yeah, I bet.
You're also not allowed to swim towards them.
Yeah.
It's highly illegal.
Were you planning
So I
to?
stayed where I was.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it intimidating, or was it just like you were just super excited?
I get incredibly excited when whales are in the water. My first instinct is always to jump in the water, but that,
You've been resisting so far this trip.
yeah, no, I wanted to so bad when we were seeing those humpbacks.
We'll have to listen out for the splash next time,
yeah.
or Rye overboard,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Rye overexcited.
But that's not always wise.
No.
But my other favorite is swimming with river otters. We have a lot of river otters.
Oh, how cool.
We do not have a lot of sea otters anymore, but we have river otters, and they swim in the ocean, and they're very fun. They come and check you out and snort at you and make a big fuss about you being in their ocean
Nice.
in general. But
Are they smaller than the ones that you find in the ocean?
yeah, they're smaller, and they're kind of like more streamlined, weaselly looking. And they
And
have
they're
like a lot
fast
of
and agile, right?
yeah, and they do like they're in our lakes, they're in our rivers, they spend a lot of time on land, whereas the sea otters kind of spend like their whole life in the ocean. So
Chilling.
I have seen a sea otter now, which is pretty rare to see around the island, but they are coming back,
Oh, good.
and with them our kelp forests are getting healthier.
Nice. Is that some specific conservation effort in the area, or just changes to fishing practices, or do you not know?
I think there was a combined effort. Please don't quote me on this, but I think there was a combined effort of like reintroduction to certain areas and not hunting them anymore.
Right.
That part probably helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Specifically, like northwest is where a lot of them were almost hunted to complete extinction. So they did a relocation of Alaska populations. So a lot of the ones that you'll find in the Pacific Northwest are actually like relocated Alaska population ones. So there's a southern and northern sea otter. So now you know, it's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there.
Oh.
I think I've just realized that when I retire, I'm going to release my inner sea otter.
Yeah.
Just hanging around,
Uh-huh.
chilling, eating breakfast on my belly.
That sounds wonderful.
Yep,
Oh.
that's it. Yeah. Yes. I'm ready.
And think about this, Chris. You'll have
Cute.
little special armpit pockets where you can stash extra food. And
Yeah.
Armpit
no,
pockets.
that's so real. That's so true. Yeah. And like this has all been observed out in the wild and also in human care and everything. They'll have like a favorite rock that they'll stash.
Well,
Yeah, and their armpit, they also have little skin flaps like on their belly too, so you can sometimes see them like shoving little bits of food down there or shoving bits of food in their armpits, and it's like, it's fully a thing, and I just think that that's the best
My-
way to go about it.
my
you know?
my wife Romy would love it if I only had one favorite rock. By the time I retire, and I don't bring all my collection home with me that I've got in my office right now. There's like,
I'm just imagining like every surface in your home covered in rocks.
I just imagine Adam as a sea otter with like rocks in every single
Yeah.
pocket.
Oh, he was glowing.
Oh,
I loved yesterday when he came out and he was like bustling, like he was heading
Yeah.
into the van and he was like, something exciting happened, and we all got up to
oh,
go
but
and
it
he
was.
went, no, you won't be interested.
Aw.
you don't need to come.
But it was. I went to watch it on the inside, and then I was listening to the audio, and it was like, no, it was very cool. There was like these vertical dikes, they're called. It's like where the lava gets injected,
Oh
and
yeah,
so you
those
get
are cool.
Yeah.
and so you get these like big like vertical slabs. It looks like concrete.
Oh yeah.
But then the thing is that when they freeze, they have like solid walls on the outside and they're gooey on the inside. So when the next lot of lava comes up, it squirts right up inside the middle of the thing. It's like an Oreo. Imagine you're trying to inject
Oh.
one Oreo into another.
Oh,
It's like the only
A
thing
double stuffed Oreo,
we
right?
can have a reenactment.
But it would be if you stood an Oreo on end, right, and you got the two biscuit halves and the soft filling. So if you wanted to shove something inside, then you go up between the two walls and you push it out. And then you got the fresh baked warm Oreo, and then the
Really
biscuits
lost
baked.
me.
Chris, I think the next time we put out Oreos in the mess, you're gonna
You're
have
gonna-
to.
Yeah, I
Demonstrate.
can do a plate tectonic reconstruction with Oreos.
There's a microwave as well
Yes.
if you need to
Yeah.
preheat them.
Perfect.
I think the
And then-
picture for that was up somewhere.
You know what? Black Oreos is
No, not the
plate
Oreo
tectonics.
picture. The one from the
From
the
the
one
dike.
From the dive, yeah.
But it's actually that's we could even take it further. The whole thing, the way plate tectonics first got discovered was because different times, because like North and South Pole on the Earth rotates. So which way your compass points north changes every some tens of thousands of years, I think. And so when the rocks freeze, any magnetic minerals freeze in along the magnetic north. But then if you're in a period when north is south and south is north, then the magnetic minerals point the other way.
Huh.
So it turns out when that was first done, the geophysicists who did that, they mapped it all out in black and white. So with Oreos, you could even reproduce the magnetic patterns as well, because you could have like...
Sounds like the perfect science fair project.
It does.
We
If
just
only-
need some more bad weather
If only it would
days.
actually last
Yeah.
long enough to get to the science fair, right? Rather than just...
Right, yeah, you can't take that on the bus.
It's like, okay, you gotta, now tidy up there.
I
You gotta-
think,
okay, kids, time to clear away your science project.
Yeah. Well, I think this also means we need to raid the galley stash of Oreos, see
Yeah.
what they've got. We can all do our own
That's right.
recreations.
I could do with more Oreos, to be honest. I feel like there's just never enough Oreos in my life.
They go so fast.
Yeah, so fast.
Here's a fun question. If you could be any sea animal,
Ooh.
what would you be and why?
Jellyfish floating past.
Well,
No, that's not the answer.
I think I
but
already
that's on the
answered.
screen.
I'm going to be a sea otter so I can eat breakfast on my belly
That's an excellent reason.
and with your rocks.
and facing
Yeah.
the sun. Yep,
I think I'd,
retirement. It's only a few more cruises away.
I think I'd be a sperm whale because they dive super deep and they see. I mean, they have like crazy like their detection, like sonar and everything is incredible. Like their whole communication thing is crazy, and I don't know. It'd just be great to see what it's like to be a sperm whale. And they eat giant squid. I would like to see a giant squid, so maybe being a sperm whale is the best way to do that. They
Yeah,
do
they
take
do.
cute naps, yeah.
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 Like weird little balloons.
Mm.
And they all like chat. Like I feel like they've got, I don't know, be cool to decipher what sperm whales say to each other.
Me putting no gauge.
I just read something not too long ago that they've been working on some way to decipher their language, because they have like an incredibly complex communication system, and they're getting close to understanding it or something like that. Or,
I feel like I may
Right,
have read the
so they
same
have like
article.
a-
It was a really
They
good.
have like
yeah.
a vocabulary.
yeah, yep,
Um,
they do. So we can talk
Mm.
to dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I remember,
Mm.
Like Dory.
I feel like, dolphins would be talking so fast. I feel like they're going to have a lot to say, right?
Yeah, yep.
Whales, I think, would be like Ents from Lord of the Rings. You know, they just
Yeah,
like go
right.
nice and slow. So when you first landed in a language, they'd be like... They
I
were
wonder
like-
if dolphins like switch topics really quick too. Like,
Yeah,
describe-
like an attention... Squirrel!
Yeah, yeah. As far as sea animals that I'd like to be, all of them, I think, at some point. I don't know. I've thought about this many, many times throughout my
Mhm.
life. But one I used to always want to be is a gannet, or like, so you can go down to like 900 feet.
Oh, wow.
What?
They go down really deep, so you can fly and dive deep.
the sperm whale goes
Oh.
deeper.
Well, yes, I know.
The same.
You want to be a flying sperm whale.
I'll be,
Yeah.
I'll be a focus road. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
like,
Where's our petunias?
Yeah.
We have been.
Well, that was where I was going to go otherwise, was be with dolphins. And
Yeah.
that would be the reason. It's because humans have governments and war and politics and stuff.
Yeah,
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 yep.
yeah.
Dolphins have this. Dolphins
Yeah,
have
that's
the
And they fly
yeah,
away.
Dolphins have exactly the same size brains,
Yeah.
and
So
they
long
play
it
around with
takes for all
balls
the
all day,
fish.
and they feel superior to humans for exactly the same reason humans feel superior to dolphins.
Yep. I think they were trying to warn the humans too, weren't they? For like
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just
Yeah,
gave
so-
up? Yeah. Right.
But you know the most useful life lesson I learned from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I always bring my own towel to sea.
Oh, we were
Yes.
talking
Same.
about that
Yeah.
Me too.
literally about 5 hours ago. Yeah.
Mm?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
I definitely
with
still
the
feel the
nice,
panic
you know,
sometimes.
calming yellow letters. Super friendly.
When the iPad came out, Stephen Fry, the British comedian, wrote a whole article, like as a about how sad it was that Douglas Adams hadn't lived long enough to see the iPad
Oh,
come
yeah.
out,
Right.
because like they'd both been like neither of them were really computer people. I mean, they're very
Uh-huh.
much arts people, but they'd both had the original first generation Mac, you know, like the Apple computer, like the
Yep. The old green
the
screen.
little- yeah.
Yeah.
And so they'd both been obsessed about their computers, and they would just like go and like talk to each other because like they couldn't talk to computer nerds because like they didn't have the right vocabulary, but they could talk to each other. They found like a common interest,
Uh-huh.
and they said like an iPad with an internet connection came closest that he'd ever come to of like an idea of a thing the size of a book that had all
Yeah.
of human knowledge on it. It was-
Oh, that's
What
awesome.
about your Kindle? Then you can
Well-
read the Hitchhiker's Guide. Like,
well, you can get them.
yeah, you should get one.
You
should make
You
one.
can't find them. Actually, I have looked.
Really?
I always thought that's what I should get.
Yeah.
It's like a,
just get a Cricut and cut it out.
there we go. We'll make Don't Panic stickers. Samantha.
Yeah, right.
Okay, you know what's
Add
really
it to
funny?
the list.
The
We
funny
need-
thing is
we need-
that a Cricut machine, I literally bring a Cricut machine everywhere I go, and like the last field station that I was at, I brought a Cricut machine. It's like
It
it
cuts
cuts vinyl, so you
like
can
a
like make
CNC vinyl cutter.
stickers
Oh, wow.
and everything. Oh, I wish. Man, I wish.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I can add it to my to-do list of things
Yeah.
to
How long is
to
the
make.
to-do list now?
You
The sticker
know,
list.
there's some stuff on there. I mean, I'm working on the Fighting Potato Bears, of course.
Yep.
We're working on the Herc and Atalanta cartoon stickers, because Centuries just had the cartoon sticker for
Yeah.
like forever already. And yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying Herc is not cute?
Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
Aw.
I've been trying not to take pictures of Sentry this cruise because each of the last two cruises I've been on, and end up with people saying that I have a deeply unnatural relationship with that robot. But it's always been like different oceans and different light, you know, and different seasons. It's
But it's a really good shirt.
it's that whole autonomy and aloofness, right?
Yeah.
Sentry's playing hard to get, right?
It's aloof, so you want it to
ROVs
love
just
you.
try too hard. They're like a Labrador on a leash. You know, it's just like, yeah, what do you want to do? I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. And Sentry's like, you should have asked before I set off. It's like, it's too late now. It's like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing now. It's like a cat, right? It's just going out.
Hey, Gabby, are you on SPL? Got some people saying that they can't hear you.
Oh no, I'm
It's
back.
like-
Sorry about that.
That's it. Every ship should have like an AUV cat flap.
Oh, yeah.
And like, Sentry just let itself out. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to do my
It's just
thing.
getting better.
I'll just be back when I get back.
Just cat flapping the A-frame.
Really? So you're doing a recovery now? Okay, well,
For sure,
See how
I'm
that
sure
goes.
Jack Crew would
Sure, I'm
love
gonna-
that.
well, last night was a perfect example, right?
Oh, it's dead.
so I'm going to come up ahead of you, am I? That's where you want me? Okay, well, I'm going to go look at this sunset
Uh-huh.
instead.
We're
and,
gonna head that way.
you can just reverse back.
For 200
Come pick
meters.
me
Yes.
up, yeah.
Like, I'm going to go look at these islands.
Is that what happened last time? Did it not come up where it was supposed to?
Oh, I don't know. I think it probably
It-
came up where it's supposed to.
Well, it definitely came up astern of the ship,
Yeah.
and that's not traditional. The normal recovery
it's
is
not
it comes up.
traditional. That is a
It's-
great euphemism.
I still have a
Herc's
British
coming up
passport. I
in
know how to use the English language.
Herc's coming up in front of the ship. It's not a traditional place for Hercules to come up.
Quite unorthodox,
Well,
really.
And it's like the standard operating procedure is with an AUV. It's a bit like a mooring recovery as well, just in case you ever have like a dead boat recovery. So it's
So
always
just
that you
down
want
the
it
length
like
of the boat.
200 to 300 meters ahead of you off the starboard bow. because then the ship can maneuver, and so the relative position, the AUV can slide down the side of the ship, and then you can hook it.
That does sound more
So-
traditional.
So I was up on, actually, yeah, Belle and I were up on the top deck yesterday looking at the sunset, and then I suddenly thought, oh, look, looks like there's a dolphin or something just broke the surface. And it was like glistening, and it was like, that's a very regular shaped dolphin, and like, that's a regular shaped dolphin with a little light flashing on it. And it's like, no, that's Sentry down there. I hope everybody knows, because that's not where you'd expect to see it. And so I went down the deck and made sure, and Melissa was there. It was like, no, Sentry wanted some sunset shots.
Well, it's fair. They got some beautiful
I mean,
shots.
it was
Yeah.
a fantastic
It was
sunset.
very pretty.
Justin
So I
just
think it was just the
recently
weather was that calm that
Yeah.
they just figured, yeah, sure, we can.
let it go do what it wanted.
Yeah.
Justin just showed me some pictures of the artwork he's put on Sentry in the past.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes and the
Great.
squid and the turkey. And it's really impressive. It's all done with electrical tape.
It is. It's
So
great.
that's probably another good reason why we need to stay where we are and do this ROV thing, because
Yeah, more
if
time.
Sentry's out of the water for 24 hours,
Yeah.
this is probably the stage of the cruise. I think
We can talk to
Justin always
in the
like he holds off until he gets the vibe of the cruise of what's going to happen,
yeah.
and then he's just like tends to be sometime before the end of the cruise if we're lucky.
Nice,
If
I
he
like
if he
that.
gets inspired, then he'll go out and.
Oh, good. I wonder what he's going to pick for our cruise.
I don't know.
Bouncing broccoli or
he'll
something.
probably, yeah. Hopefully there's no green tape.
Yeah, that's right. The green tape.
Maybe we should make Sentry also narrate their dives, the Sentry team. That would be great.
Well, I did. I narrated all our dives. I was WhatsApping like furious.
That's true. But not.
You just haven't read all 5,000 messages from
I
that
read about
14-hour dive.
3,000 of the 5,000 messages, and it was overwhelming.
It was. My thumbs can't take too many more AUV dives.
Does anyone have a song stuck in their head right now?
No.
Oh.
Do you have a song stuck in your
I
head
do.
right now? Which song?
It's the circus song. The It's been stuck in my head all day.
Oh no.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry for you.
It's alright. It's better than the Elmo song, which was the last one.
I thought you had a Christmas song stuck in your head too.
Oh God, don't remind me.
Sorry.
I don't remember which one it was, which means my brain was doing effective housekeeping, but
If we'd thought ahead, we'd have asked Megan to bring her tongue drum for this dive.
Oh
play
my
Christmas
gosh.
songs.
We could have been listening to.
Yeah.
I don't think Megan plays Christmas songs on the
I
tongue
don't
drum.
play Christmas songs. Oh yeah, yeah, I can do that for you.
Oh, what? Is that the thermostat? Now you tell
Yeah.
us that you can control the temperature?
No, it's the super secret navigator button.
Oh. Is it blue?
Yeah,
It turns off the AC.
it definitely doesn't turn off the AC.
No. Nothing turns off the
What
AC.
does
If
it
it
do?
did that, I would have been pushing it like crazy.
What does it do?
It's a secret.
she's
Oh.
luring up.
It's the heated seat for the navigator. That's
We
what the
don't
navigator
talk.
button
We don't
is.
talk about the secret navigator button.
Don't
I
talk
won't
about
tell you about the secret sage button if you don't tell me about the secret navigator
Well,
button.
I can tell you off SPO.
Okay, deal.
Now I have this "We Don't Talk About Bruno" song playing in my head.
Oh no, now it's in my head.
That's okay, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's Displace the Circus song, so
No.
it's like that's an upgrade.
That rushed in with like,
Oh, yeah.
It's on.
I should put that song on the playlist.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was something gonna happen?
Yeah, wait for it.
Oh, okay.
So how gracious was Derek about being woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning?
It took a long time to
Really?
get him to answer the door. And then he poked
Is
his
it
head
doing
out
the
and
thing?
said, what?
Oh.
But no, he was very gracious. He said, I said, I'm really sorry. He said, no problem. What's going on?
Yeah,
I was connected before.
that's why he doesn't have a watch, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he can
Alright.
be on 24-hour call out. And,
Yeah, yeah, if he had to sit a watch, that would be a really long,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
like, long cruise.
I didn't hear anything on the blue channel.
I know I once did in a world without expedition leaders. I spent 7 weeks
Oh.
as chief scientist on the same ship, back to back, but it was over 3 legs,
Oh, wow.
back to back to back, of
So
like
3
change of different
cruises.
people. Yeah.
Oh,
So
jeez.
it was, the first was like a cruise that was over 2 legs, and then the second one was a cruise that ended up being double booked to be
Okay.
in 2 places with my former thesis advisor. He was meant to be coming on and being chief scientist on the 3rd leg, but I couldn't go on a different cruise that was like spanning those, so I inherited the 3rd cruise as chief scientist as well. So it was like 7 weeks, but then like the changeover, I think there was only 2 other people apart from me, like different captains. All the officers, everybody else had gone home, and I was still on this rotation.
Oh, man.
And so it was like all that time when you're chief scientist, you're basically on call 24 hours a day of like, something goes wrong. It's like, okay, what are we going to do next?
Uh-huh.
And so it had been that kind of thing of like,
Still an hour.
but then everybody was so institutionalized at the end that we walked down the gangplank in Ponta Delgado in the Azores, and everyone turned to me and said, okay, where are we going for dinner? It was like,
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
don't know where 27 people are going
Yeah.
for dinner, and I really like, this is my time now. It's like,
Yeah.
you tell me where you're going and I may or may not show up, but I am not leading 27 people out trying to get a dinner reservation now. You're back on dry ground now. You have to actually think for yourself. I don't get to tell you everything of what you're doing for 4-hour chunks.
I had a similar experience coming off of Palmyra. I ended up staying there,
Oh, yeah.
extended my season because the previous, or the following manager
Mhm.
didn't show up. Like, he kind of bailed at the last minute. So I stayed for an extra half a season. And there was a crew of us that all got off at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And they had been there for 4 months. I'd been there for 5.5 months. And we all got off of the island. We get out into Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
And we all figured out where we're going to go. I said, okay, well, we can go, gave a couple of places. So we all went out to dinner, and we were sitting around, and the waitress comes up and asks what everyone wants to eat. And they all turned and looked at me. I was like, I don't know what you guys want to eat.
But they were so used to having you as the station manager.
Yeah.
Like, they
So
were
you guys can
awaiting
have whatever
instruction.
you want now.
Got a question here. Would the ocean be any deeper if there were no sponges in it?
Sponges in it.
That is a very good one. Was
Oh, I
that
just
me
got
that
it.
asked that question?
That's clever.
Well, they must displace some water, so yeah, I guess if you
Yeah.
took all the sponges out, it would actually get shallower.
Yeah.
Sea level would drop.
So everybody's returning to the U.S. on Thursday evening? Besides Rye, you're gonna stay back, yeah?
No, I'm
Oh.
I'm coming
Mary's
back
staying?
for the. I don't know. I don't know when I'm coming back.
I think Mary and Renee are
Yeah.
sticking around for about a week or so.
Oh.
But Rai, where did you say you were going?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have to look at the calendar.
How long
I don't
do you
really
have
know
before
what
the
day
next?
it is. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, what?
How long is it till you set sail again? Is it like a few days in port?
No, I'm on the expedition that starts in
Oh, okay.
end of October. Yeah.
So you're
Oh,
not
she's
going
gonna
right.
fly,
So you're just
yeah.
going to stay traveling, and then you're going to
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
you
I
made it
thought
sound like
you were
were not
sailing.
leaving the ship at all.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I thought
7
you were. I
weeks.
thought you were like
Yeah.
doing the transit across to Palau
No.
as well. But It's a mapping cruise, the next one, yeah?
Yeah, mapping to Palau.
Are you on for that one?
Nope. I am off to Palmyra again.
Nice.
Yeah, this is my last one for the season.
Yeah.
Is it Thursday? Yeah, because we get into port on Tuesday, right?
Mhm.
We demo Tuesday, and isn't it Wednesday evening we fly out, I think?
No, it's Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
We only get
26.
two
That's the only
flights a
flight.
week, which is Monday evening and Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Only during the summer and December, there's a third flight, which is usually on Wednesday.
So we'll have all day Wednesday and all day Thursday to hang out. And then we fly out on 11 on Thursday night.
Nice.
Sounds pretty good.
Mhm. What day are you going to, what day are you leaving?
We leave on the same day, but
Thursday.
we're heading to Western Samoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow!
yeah. We're going to go to Apia and Savaii, and I'm planning to do some diving and I'm going to do some, be good. Be nice to look around. Yeah.
Different from Tutuila. Very different.
Yeah. Do you have any recommendations?
Don't go to Apia.
I think we have to go to Apia.
Well,
As a loyal citizen of American Samoa.
they drive on the opposite side of the
Yeah.
road, and the cars too,
Yeah.
the drivers.
That's normal for Mary.
Yeah, I know.
Same
Yeah,
for me.
On the right side of the road, which is the left.
Yeah, I think the person you should ask is Val. She probably knows more places to check out. I don't go as often as I should. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Are you going back home after this, or are you doing anything else?
Actually, I invited some of the interns as well as Jaina to present to students.
Oh, nice.
Oh, great.
Yeah, to inspire them and
Mhm.
in the field of science, STEAM,
Mhm.
as well as taking any opportunities that arises. So, and hopefully inspire teachers as well.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, we're taking the team of 4 to some of the high schools and the community college. And then on Thursday and Friday, taking DJ, visiting some of the schools in American Samoa. Same reason. I mean,
Yeah.
when am I going to get all of you guys
Yeah.
here on island and share
As soon
your
as
stories,
possible,
these
hopefully.
guys' stories? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we leave on Thursday, get home on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a long journey with a
Yeah,
weird.
that's really long.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys have a chance to visit our visitor center. I mean, it's not the same as the ones you see in the mainland. Very small, just one big room and a small room. It's really close by the wharf. It's a walking
Oh, cool.
distance. Yeah, stop by if you guys can.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Definitely.
We went there.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you
already
guys
been?
did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
A
did
group
not
of
go
us.
there.
Oh,
It was nice.
Is that the Ocean Center?
yes.
That where Lucy did some
Yes.
something, right?
Oh, you met Lucy from the Jarvis Lake.
Yeah, I was on it with her.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, she stayed for a week, hung out with us, and
Yeah.
did some work together.
Yeah, she had a really nice time. It sounded
Yeah.
like.
Is this journey?
Yeah.
Amazing. Chris, I have the book for you after I finished it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
How is it?
it's good.
All
You should
right.
read it.
I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah. Took me about 2 hours. Hour 45 maybe?
All right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need to reread, or do you feel like you got it?
I feel like I got it. It was pretty visceral.
Yeah, it was.
It was good.
Oh boy.
Very funny.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're really
was
selling it to
cackling
us.
out
I'm
loud.
like,